said so. Those are his exact words.
And how will he know where I sit?
He's charged me with making sure that this goes smoothly. I'm not going to lie to him.
This will go smoothly.
It will, if you settle down and focus.
On my studies?
Those will come easy to you. It's all the rest of
Boy.
Just remember, I'm a short walk away, and so is Alice. Are you going to unpack your things?
Of course.
When? I don't understand why you're angry with me. I'm on your side. Just days before we left, Mother went into hysterics. She was going to write Aunt Clara to have you sent to St. Louis as kitchen help. And Father considered it. But I insisted that we stay the course. That Michigan will be best for a brain like yours. Now, I'm not asking that you sing my praises.
I am grateful, Roy. I am. And I'm ready to be here. On my own.
Glad to hear it, because this is it, Grace. Go out there. Meet people.
But not draw attention to myself. Not cause a ruckus. Find a way to fit.
Shouldn't be too hard here. Bound to be loads of socially adept young women in this building. Alice and I will be by early next week. She has plans to bake you a cake.
What?
One last thing. You don't have to be so serious all the time. The best university girls are the ones who know how to have a little fun. Oh, and if someone gives you a green ribbon, you must wear it on your wrist or pinned to your dress every day.
Why?
It lets people know you're a freshman.
Who wants to know?
Everyone. One last thing.
Deja vu.
Your women's news section is about half a column, always on page 2. Referencing the newspaper is an easy and inoffensive way to start a conversation. Alice and I will be by, say, second day of class. You can tell us about your professors or...
No. Has he left? Roy? Yes. That wasn't your father? No, my brother, Roy. He's here as well, in the medical school. I'm Lillian Dodson. Grace McBride. Oh, you got yours. Yes, I was a costume on university, told to wear it at all times. I'm not quite sure what it means. It marks you as a freshman. I think my getting lost and being nervous ought to do that just fine. Your badge of dishonor? Are you mine? Are we sharing this room? Oh, no, I'm next door. Connected to you, but by myself. I share your sink. Only a few doubles in the whole building, I understand. I wanted a roommate, but my father thought I'd be more likely to succeed academically with a few possible distractions. And also the flu. The flu isn't here. Not yet. I can study just about anywhere, but my brother told my father I'd be more socially engaged if I had a roommate. He's right to my strong displeasure. I wonder what she'll be like. You have to be a certain type of girl to live in this building. Oh, I know. The application took ages, but my father didn't want me staying in a league house. The application? Well, it wasn't long, but they wanted friends as references, and preferably from Ann Arbor, they said. I've never met anyone here except for my brother and his wife. I've never left Edmore until now. I didn't fill out an application. Maybe my father did it for me. We had a difficult summer. These windows are nice. You get a lot of light. Is this today's? Yes, Roy brought it up with him. He seems to think reading it every day will make me more interesting. There are instructions on how to make an influenza mask right here on the front page. That's going overboard, don't you think? Is it? Maybe. No local deaths reported, and there aren't even any cases on campus. Why would we need masks? What are you looking for? Sometimes they report the local deaths of sick soldiers, university men. Do you have a boyfriend over there? No, sometimes I know someone. I've lived in Ann Arbor all my life. Your windows are so much nicer than mine. You get a lot of light. Are you an artist? No, I mean, not the drawing kind. I play music. Oh, wonderful. Is that what you're studying here? No, literature, to teach it. You? Veterinary science. I'm going to be the kind of animal doctor that travels from farm to farm fixing animals. I'm going to travel all over Michigan. I'm very good with animals. Dogs and cats? Yes, and cows and horses.
It could not be proved, one way or the other.
Until it was.
How old was I? 13?
I was 10.
And then they made the announcement. Everything was fake, officially.
Oh, I know. My little heart broke, but it got me thinking a lot about the Bible and the unlikelihood of all those Old Testament stories being empirically true.
Did you become a pagan?
Not exactly. How did George take it all being fake?
He read everything he could get his hands on to how they knew the objects were forgeries. He was about to turn 11 and declared his intentions to become an archaeologist.
Wonderful. Is he succeeding?
No, that didn't come to pass.
You're gonna put that back on?
I'm not very good at breaking the rules.
One more trip ought to do it. So, kind friend, am I to take the floor or the hallway?
Dear Father, we are settling in well to our house just outside of campus. What I call small, my darling wife calls cozy. She's feeling much better now that she's reached her 6th month. Oh, please forgive the indiscretion. But she continues to dream of a Christmas baby. We plan on hosting a few medical students and their wives before they get too busy when class gets started. Campus is rather chaotic, what with the Student Army Training Corps moving in. The SATC is an operation that, by and large, seems poorly planned. I've grown up with stories of Uncle Roy, God rest his soul, as a model of the ideal military man. These directionless layabouts couldn't hold a candle to our Spanish-American war hero. How I wish I could have known him, and how I wish this absurd injury hadn't kept me from joining the fray. The government has ordered that we switch from traditional academic calendars to trimesters in order to accommodate a military training schedule. And no one seems to be certain about things such as exam dates, holiday breaks, etc. I only know that classes will begin next week in October and the term ends sometime in February. I did leave Grace just a few hours ago, and I can report back that the Martha Cook building is exactly as described, and securing the money to put her there was worth it. The building rule is that fathers and brothers are allowed upstairs with the permission of Miss Mack, the house director. I shall have ready access to Grace in order to keep her focus where it ought to be. Of course, I haven't forgotten what you and I have discussed. While she's still up to it, Alice will help me put Grace on the path of eligible young men. And given what I've seen of the building environment and the building mates, it won't be long until she grows into a charming hostess, the kind of woman that will attract suitable callers. I understand our time is limited. I reminded her to write. Send Mother my best. Your son, Roy.
Who's Helen? Do you know her? Who? Says it right here. Work like Helen, be happy. Grace! What? Don't you hear it? Work like Helen, be happy. Work like hell and be happy. Oh, that's clever. You keep it. I think you need a reminder. What? Well, you've got the work part down, but you're not having any fun. This is my fun, Ida. I have 4 years here. I figure if I buckle down and study for the first 2, I can spend the other 2 on things like fun and boys.
You lovely, level-headed, academic angel. Did you read the daily? Did you see we have to choose a sport?
What?
In the daily, it says freshmen girls have to choose a sport. The choices are archery, field hockey, tennis, and military marching.
I don't want to do any of these. Time wasters, all.
You've got to pick one.
Well, what are you doing?
Archery, of course.
Why?
To vanquish my enemies.
It'll be military marching for me. I ought to be able to do that when I have my mind on other things. Hey, why is that bag still packed?
It's staying the way it is. I'm taking a trip.
We just got here.
Yes?
names of the dead people in the paper.
Oh, I meant, what's the cause of her sadness, not what evidence you have for your opinion.
I try not to speculate, but
Is she unmoored?
I don't
This
think
is-
so.
Play along. Is she devastatingly lonely?
Maybe.
Longing for the companionship of some long-lost chum?
Or a friend from high school, or her favorite cousin who died.
Oh, yes! Perhaps she's wallowing in the depths of grief.
That seems the most likely.
I'm going to find out.
How?
I'm going to ask her?
People don't always answer the questions they're asked.
Well, she shouldn't be alone in a room just sitting by herself.
Well, her father thought she'd do better if she was in there by herself.
Fathers, what do they know? We will make her an honorary resident of this room. We will take her in. What do you say?
Lillian might not want that.
Of course she does. I've suffered tragedy, and I've been taken in, and I can tell you there are few better feelings than knowing that somebody wants you.
Oh, well, you've suffered tragedy. Tell me, dear friend, who took you in?
I'm going to tell you something. You should prepare yourself adequately. I don't share this with everyone, and I don't want my reputation to precede me here on campus. My life is like a Frances Hogstrom Burnett book. You know those?
Secret Garden.
Yes, and Little Princess.
I've read that one too.
Things happen to me. Things have always just happened to me. I bet you think nothing much has happened to you.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe it has, and maybe it hasn't. You can recount your life for me sometime, and I can help you figure out exactly what has happened to you.
Perhaps I will.
As far as I go, a lot has happened to me. Elizabeth Deeds. Aunt Elizabeth to me. Took me under her wing a few years back. I'd been orphaned and...
Oh, Ida, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have joked.
I made go of it on my own for a while. I think Aunt Elizabeth admired my resourcefulness, but she wasn't really comfortable with the way things were, and she took me in. She's a widow and childless, and I intend to follow in her footsteps when I finish here. It's like a book, really. Or it will be once I get to that triumphant ending.
It's exactly like a book. Follow in her footsteps to what exactly?
Her husband, Martin, several years deceased.
Your uncle?
Yes. Owned a machine parts factory that converted into making airplane parts when the U.S. joined the war. Dayton Manufacturing, it's called. When he died, it became hers. And someday, I'd like it to be mine.
You're not gonna fly airplanes, are you?
No. Well, perhaps. But I'm to study industrial psychology.
What's that?
It examines the best methods for maximizing productivity of the workers.
Oh, your trip to Detroit. Does it have anything to do with that?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Well, not in the way that you're thinking. When I do run a factory, I'm going to do it on my own and fairly. And, in a roundabout way, the trip does have something to do with that. I want to rely on only myself and my abilities. Fathers, husbands, uncles, nephews.
You've got nephews?
No. But men in general are not to be relied upon. Independence is the aim.
I believe I could be independent if I was a traveling veterinarian.
Is your father going to let you do that? Is Roy?
I mean, I'm here. Are things happen to her?
Oh, that's awful.
She seems to have made it out just fine.
She's interesting.
Mr. and Mrs. McBride, this is our neighbor, Lillian Dodsley.
How do you do? Any relation to the mathematics professor?
Yes, he's my father.
He's a tough one, but I learned a lot. Got top marks, too.
Roy.
What? There's nothing to be ashamed of.
I don't think he teaches anything I need. Lillian, we may remain friends.
Grace, have you read the Daily today?
Yes, I remarked their flu prevention advice. Avoid sneezing people. It seems to me by the time you know
A
someone's
Michigan
sneezing,
alum died of the flu in Ohio.
Hasn't made it this far, though. We're all right.
They're planning to close theaters to prevent it spreading.
That's precautionary.
Have you been able to find the war decks listed? I haven't been able to find them.
They're under the heading for liberty, when there are any to be had.
I know that, I just haven't
It
seen
shouldn't be long before the war is over. The reason I ask is because there was an item about a new French professor coming in. She plans on opening a Cercle Francais. That might be good for you, Grace.
my French isn't nearly good enough for that.
Mon français is excellent. I can catch her up to speed and we can go together.
Thank you, Miss Kettering. Sometimes Grace needs a friend in order to feel more capable. Are you studying French?
Mais non, I know it already.
That's fine.
I'm to study industrial psychology.
That sounds daunting.
A relatively new field. I don't think there are many girls in it.
Oh, no. I'm the only one of the first years and only the third altogether.
Well, maybe some of your bravery will rub off on Grace. What do you plan to do when you leave?
Run something. Aunt Elizabeth's got a factory making airplane parts, but who knows what it'll convert to once the war is over?
Grace mentioned that. What was it? Dayton Manufacturing. And your aunt is the owner?
She was partnered in it with her husband before he passed.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Why aren't you a pet?
A pip? Maybe. I'm just trying to keep my head above water with all these classes.
I'm sure you'll do fine. And if not, you can change your major to French.
I will remember that advice come exam time.
I feel so sorry for you girls. Everything being so topsy-turvy on campus with the military men moving in. I worry you're not getting a traditional Michigan experience.
Well, we have to make room for them. Isn't it admirable? Studying and getting ready to fight?
They shouldn't be here. They belong in boot camp. Say, has anyone gotten you a green ribbon?
Lillian has one.
Excellent. Grace, you have got to get in the spirit.
Roy, I'm wondering if you can run down to the kitchen and see if they have a cake server we can borrow. And maybe some small plates.
I'll go too to help.
Yes! Roy shouldn't be wandering the building by himself. It's a relatively new building, and I don't believe there are many boys in it.
There's only one girl in Roy's year at medical school, and she fainted on the first day. He felt awful about it.
Did he?
I used to faint a lot when I was gardening. It was scary the first few times.
And did anyone suggest that you should stop gardening forever? That you weren't cut out for it?
No, my mother would bring me a glass of water and I'd sit in the shade for a while.
There are still people who don't want women to be business owners or doctors, and they will cling to the most meaningless anecdote to support their argument.
Roy doesn't think that. He just wonders if this particular girl was cut out for medicine.
I think she ought to be allowed to decide if she is.
Of course.
Does he wonder about a sister's choice program? Veterinary science is mostly men.
Oh no, you should see Grace with horses and cows and even ducks. My goodness, they flock to her. And she should spend her time here doing what she enjoys.
I think that's
chasing down the Huns, I resolved to finish this year as the best new doctor in Michigan. Ann Arbor remains a haven from the spread of the Spanish influenza, and the only cases reported locally seem to be among the SATC men. It seems that living in such close quarters with such low regard for hygiene, they spread the virus from man to man unimpeded. But the infected are quarantined though, and there have been no fatalities. Alice and I will continue to pray for the afflicted and for the safety and protection of those that we love. I did meet Grace's roommate, and she is an interesting person. Ida Kettering is a strong contrast to our Grace. It seems that growing up with a widowed aunt in a situation of privilege has had some effect on her character. She is high-spirited and quite forward, but perhaps these are the exact traits we need to bring Grace into a life of engagement and activity. She plans on studying industrial psychology, a relatively new field that, in all honesty, sounds to me like a lot of mumbo-jumbo. I mean, what husband would endorse such a pursuit? What children would take pride in their mother, roaming a factory floor, face smudged with grease, hair blown about by exhaust fans? It's quite laughable. Alice and I agree that come the end of the term in February, she'll have switched her course of study to something more suitable and practical for a young woman of means. I will keep a close eye on the situation, perhaps deploying Alice, who seems to get lonely while I'm away at class, on missions of espionage. Send Mother my best. Your son, Roy.
Marching go well? You're back. You look quite serious. You're a top student, you said?
You missed your classes.
The train ran late.
Did you have your conversation with Robizon?
You remembered her name.
Of course I did. And
I need to go back.
when?
I wanted to go in the coming week, but they're preparing to shut down all the public buildings. Because of the flu, they said. I'll wait till it passes.
Don't tell Lillian. She'll have you quarantined. Hey, what are you reading?
Say, are you gonna get changed?
Of course I am. They won't let me in the gold room looking like a puffed up sailor. But there's something I need to find first. I was reciting the bones of the hand and marching, and I think I missed one. Work like hell and be happy.
That's right.
It's just, there are things I want to do and learn and try, but I'm stuck, what, marching around on a field for hours? To bolster my strength, ward off the flu?
Someday, you will wake up every day, and your time will be spent as you like it.
Roy and Alice are trying to talk me into meeting this guy from Roy's class.
So tell them you don't want to.
I already have. Another wasted afternoon spent on something I don't even want, and yet,
Well, you could meet this boy, be terribly rude, upset your brother, and run away.
thereby confirming every horrible suspicion Roy has ever had about me.
We have to exert the little control we have left, Grace.
Roy seems to think I'm missing out on the whole Michigan experience by not being courted and meeting boys. He seems to think the Michigan experience is the same for everyone, but I don't think it'll be that way for me.
Will he come around?
I'm not Alice. Alice is great, but I'm not Alice.
I like Alice.
Me too.
But I don't want the same things she wants. And neither do you. You're rather unconventional.
I am not. I'm not.
I believe that you're the one who is meant to look the whole world in the face with a go-to-hell look in the eye, to have an ideal, to speak and set in defiance of convention.
What is that? What are you reading? Who is that? I don't
story, actually.
Tell it.
My brother George has a friend named James who's stationed over there. He sent it to George, and when he went overseas, he left it in my care.
You better write him to tell himself to buy a new one if you're getting good at playing it. I bet he'd like to hear about it.
Lillian?
There isn't a way to say this that won't sound so abrupt, so I apologize. George was killed at Bellawood.
Oh, Lillian, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. My manners, I don't know what.
That was just a few months ago. At the beginning of summer.
It's all right. We're proud of him.
As you should be. And what a beautiful thing to be playing the instrument he left with you. May we hear something?
Oh, I don't know.
Lillian, please. I'd like to hear one of those things. I've never heard one before.
I mostly play silly songs.
That might be good right now if you can muster it.
All right. Johnny O'Connor bought an automobile. Music is sweet, hard ride one Sunday. Johnny was togged up in his best Sunday clothes. She nestled close to his side. Things went just dandy till they got down the road. Then something happened to the old machinery. That engine got his goat, open his hat and coat. Everything needed from repairs. He had to get under, get out and get under to fix his little machine. He was just dying to cuddle his queen, but every minute when he began it, he had to get under, get out and get under. Then he'd get back at the wheel. 1,000 times they'd start to hug and kiss, and then the darn old engine, it would miss, and then he'd have to get under, get out and get under, and then pick up his automobile.
Stop it. You're wonderful, Lillian, but I can't take it. Excuse me.
She's right, Lillian. You were wonderful. You have to play for the whole building.
Oh no.
Absolutely, you must. I can talk to the tea committee, and you can play at tea on Friday.
I don't play in front of people.
You just played in front of us.
I mean, on a stage, at a show, it's just for me.
Well, maybe you can play for us again some other time when Alice isn't.
Great with child.
I know.
What? It's just us.
Thank you again, Lillian. I haven't laughed like that since we arrived for the year, I think.
I'm glad it made you happy.
I think Lillian should play for the whole building.
I think it's nice to have something for yourself. I've got to go. Roy will be home soon, and I ought to have dinner ready. I'm getting tired earlier and earlier.
I should have brought that to you.
Oh no, it gave me somewhere to go. It can get lonely at our house when he's gone to class all day.
If you'd ever like company.
You're welcome to come and sit in my little kitchen anytime you'd like, Lillian. I'd like to apologize again for my gesture earlier. I think with my condition and what you shared about your brother, I can be more emotional than appropriate sometimes.
There's no need to apologize. I was glad for the comfort, truly.
Grace, Ida, studying tonight?
Yes.
We'll see.
I'll walk you out. Oh, wonderful! We can plan for lunch on Saturday. Goodbye, girls.
All I'm saying, Lillian, is that if I were as talented at music as you are, you couldn't stop me from getting up in front of the crowd.
Dear Father, I hope you're doing your best to keep Mother away from the news. One teaching assistant here died of the flu in the ag college is under quarantine. However, daily life is normal, and local outlets insist this is the crest of the disease. As Abraham begged for the city of Sodom, I pray for Michigan. Alice and I did host a heart lunch for a few medical students. One young man who attended, Michael Reed, might be a great match for Grace, but she claimed to be overwhelmed with schoolwork. Alice says he's reasonably handsome, I shall not let go of the idea just yet. I have the slightest suspicion that Grace's roommate, Ida, discouraged her from attending the lunch. I can't say exactly why, but I worry she's influencing Grace in ways that do not serve her. Alice went to go retrieve her cake plate last week and reported back that Grace seems to be in good spirits. She says I need not worry about Ida, that her ways just take some getting used to. I will trust her opinion for now and stay out of it. But should anything go awry, I will be speaking to those in power about changing Grace's arrangements. Alice feels we are close to convincing Grace that she can balance both school life and a potential courtship. So we're forging ahead and plan to host her and Michael Reed at our house for tea very soon. Let Mom know that he is from Michigan, so should things work out, Grace will not be moving too far away. Send mother love from Alice and me. Your son, Roy.
Anybody in there? I got my brother home. Ida, Lillian.
Lillian might be with Alice. I found them drinking lemonade in our kitchen yesterday. I have so many responsibilities. Alice gets lonely. It's good that she has a friend.
Ida's at class. She plans to take the train to Detroit again.
Take the train to Detroit? What for?
She has a family member there, an elderly, I think, in need of company. Tell me about your classes. How's that girl you're painted?
Oh, here's a story you won't hear about in the Daily. She's pregnant with one of those SATC buffoons.
Oh, hi.
She had to drop out of school, of course. You can hardly have a girl in that state in medical school.
Well, she could have at least finished the charter.
To what end? She can hardly be a doctor and a mother. I'm sorry, did you say again? Ida's already been to Detroit and back?
Yes, thank you for locking me up, but I have a test in general pathology tomorrow, and I have the next 2 hours set aside to study, so...
Funny, you should bring up general pathology. I have a paper to train in on Monday on diseases of the blood. Do you mind having a look at it for me?
Oh, I don't know, Roy. I'm very busy. But I will agree to take a look at it if you stop talking to me about Michael Reed.
Grace, part of the bargain is that you find a husband while you're here.
Nobody said I had to find him in the first month.
All the men like freshman girls, Grace, because they're new, fresh.
Campus isn't a butcher shop.
I know, but it would be nice if you could find someone before...
Before what? Before word got out on me?
There's no one else here from Edmore, but Alice said...
It's a very big pond here, Roy. Edmore was a very small pond.
And you made a very big splash.
You talk like I'm Lady Godiva riding naked
To
through
some people, you're worse.
Don't say that.
You trampled on the sacred Grace, affronted the Christian people of Edmore, embarrassed your fiancé.
We weren't engaged.
He was going to propose.
He claims he found a piece of the ark, Roy. Noah's ark.
And who's to say he couldn't have?
Me, I say it couldn't have been.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that there was no ark, Roy. There was no ark. It's a myth like Zeus and Achilles and Adam and Eve.
Oh, are you a heathen now? Is that it? Well, is the flood a myth? Is God a myth?
You're studying science, Roy. Look at the facts. God got mad at people and animals and decided to start over. What about the fish? What about the turtles? What about the dolphins? If God really wanted to start over, he would have drained the ocean, exploded the world, set it on fire even. Genesis is a collection of made-up stories from a generation that was widely illiterate. Have you heard of Herman Gomperroy? He's written a collection of articles saying that Genesis... What?
For once, I am worried this isn't going to work.
Don't say that.
You understand what you did in church that Sunday? You laughed at him in front of the people.
At best, he was naive. At worst, he was taking advantage of the gullible people in his congregation.
That isn't your place to say, Grace. People don't like a show-off.
Do people ask show-offs to help them with their diseases of the blood paper?
No. Brothers ask sisters to do that.
When my intelligence is useful to you, suddenly it's no longer an embarrassment.
Are you making any friends?
I have Ida and Lillian, and I won the name game the other day. I only mixed up 2 names, Victoria Schultz and Veronica Sheldon.
What are you talking about?
It's a game we played in the blue room the other day. You have a match.
Are you going anywhere? Attending things?
We have a backwards dinner on Friday evening.
What?
It's like a regular dinner, but everything's backwards. You know, desserts first, utensils upside down.
Grace.
The girls are even saying Mackie has to eat with her right hand. She's left-handed. It's funny, Roy. I'm looking forward to it.
Are you inviting guests?
No, it's just for the cookies.
For whom?
Cookies! Us! Presidents of the Martha Cook Building?
Well, don't make too much of a night of it. Michael Reed has already accepted our invitation for Saturday.
Oh.
I've written father and mother and informed them that you're going to be meeting him.
Why? Roy, why?
Have you met any men? Well, you're meeting one on Saturday, and if everything goes well, maybe you can invite him to something here. Were we told maybe events in which guests could be invited, dances and things?
There will be. Although, they'll be formal. Not like near the building open, they said, because of the war.
I see.
I forgot this ridiculous thing. Professor Mathers is adamant we wear them in class. It makes it difficult for everyone to hear my great ideas.
I have a hard time believing you have any problem being heard.
The Martha Cook administration thinks it seems insensitive to host a mock wedding or a winter formal when so many of our young men are fighting abroad and so many of their family members are worried about them.
Lillian's own brother.
Why aren't you fighting, Roy? You can tell me later. I'm usually late for class.
I'll tell her later.
You absolutely will not.
But you have a legitimate reason.
It isn't her business. Our lives are not her business.
I'll just tell her you lost your toe.
And next time she sees me, she'll demand I take off my shoe and sock and prove it to her. Who does she think she is anyway?
It was her way of defending me.
From what? Me? What was I doing?
Standing up for me. She was being a friend.
She's strange, Grace. I don't even know how she got accepted into this building. Do you expect her aunt paid her way in? Made a large donation?
Don't be ridiculous.
Does she have a boyfriend?
No, not that I know of.
Does Lillian?
I don't think so.
Then they're of no practical use to you. Can you please at least take a look at my paper before tomorrow evening? Thank you.
Grace?
Oh, Roy, thought you were with Alice.
No, we had lemonade yesterday. We might go on a walk tomorrow. I find it calming to be with her. What are you looking for?
Something Ida had, something I wanted to read. I didn't hear you come in.
Would you mind if I read in here?
Why?
I don't have to. It's just the way the light comes in. It's nicer.
Oh, of course. Ida's at class.
My father thinks I don't like to be around people. He thought he used to do me a favor by putting me in there by myself. But the truth is, I've only ever had one real friend. And when I lost him, I didn't quite know how to be around people. It's not that I don't want to be, it's that I don't quite know how to do it.
Oh, Lil.
But being in this building next to you, Ida, it's somehow a little easier than being at home.
That's good.
My mother can't tolerate a lot of noise anymore since George. We've all gotten used to being quiet, silent really. So that first day when we heard Ida in the hallway and she was swearing and you and I were laughing, that was the first time I had felt like myself in months. I used to laugh like that with George.
About what?
Our parents, this town, anything. He was funny.
You are too. Really? Did you have boyfriends in high school?
No.
All right. It's just that Roy and Alice started going together when she was 12. And by the time she was 14, everyone knew they were to be married. People in Edmore, including my parents, worried about me.
I suppose it's a good thing you came to Ann Arbor then.
I guess so.
Would you have felt better staying there?
Oh, I couldn't have. I did something. My brother says it was stupid, but I don't think I could have stopped it if I wanted to.
What was that?
There was this man, Douglas Moore, descendants from the
minister with a wife named Grace. That seems like something that would have garnered Roy's stamp of approval.
I ruined it.
On purpose?
No!
Tell us what happened.
Douglas, the minister,
I gather.
was giving a sermon one day, and I was there, as was most of the church. And he held up this piece of wood and told us he had been walking in the forest and spotted this piece of wood and heard the voice of God tell him that this was a remnant of the ark.
The Ark of the Covenant or Noah's Ark?
Noah's Ark. The people in Edmore have a very specific relationship with Noah. I'm sure you remember, Lillian.
I do.
And many in the community still choose to believe that these alleged relics are real, even after they've been proven frauds years earlier, and that only those of true faith can see them.
Oh my.
And then he held up this piece of wood and said that we, the people of Faith United, were to build a new place of worship centered around this stick. And that he needed all those assembled to reach deep into their hearts and their pockets to make his dream, God's dream, a reality.
And you...
I laughed loudly from the back.
Oh, good.
People heard you?
Yes, it sounded like a dog bark. And no one moved or looked away. And before I knew what was happening, I stood up and said, you mean to tell me you all believe him?
Marvelous.
And no one turned or looked away, so I got up and made my way to the back of the church and left. A few moments later, my father met me and turned me in the direction of home and told me to start walking.
Was he angry?
Not angry, just sad. So sad. Mother and father had always thought that Douglas was my last, best chance. No one ever really said it out loud, but Douglas was my only chance.
Isn't it funny?
No?
It is! A scandal, if you want to call it that, opens up a whole new world for you. If you hadn't laughed, you'd be up there, married to a minister, and maybe having a baby. But you laughed, and now you're here, getting to do bigger things than you ever imagined.
You know, on the way home that day, I started picturing my life as a old maid. And you know what? It didn't seem that bad. But being here and learning so much every day, it's better.
Things worked out.
I guess they did.
Hold on. The church. Is that what you were looking for?
Yes,
You were looking for these? Why?
I wanted to hear that sentence again, the one you said the other day. When Roy was here yelling at me, I wanted the courage it gave me again.
Oh, I've got that one memorized. To look the whole world in the face with a go-to-hell look in the eye. To have an ideal. To speak and set in defiance of convention.
What is that?
It's a woman's duty.
What woman?
All women. Me, you, both of you.
Who said it?
Hold on. I was trying to find something. I thought it was number 5. Ah! Here it is. We say that female attendance in churches is diminishing in proportion to their interest in social advancements, thus becoming investigators instead of believers. See? You're part of something bigger.
What is that? I want to read it.
It's a newsletter, and believe it or not, it's over 3 years old. The feminist frontier has finally made its way to the middle of America.
Is that what it's called, the feminist frontier?
No, it's called the Woman Rebel.
Let me see it.
I can't. It's not technically legal, me having it. What? 7 copies were printed and distributed, but most were suppressed by the U.S. Post Office.
Suppressed? By the federal government? Ida, what are you? Some sort of spy?
Don't be ridiculous.
Give it to me. I want to read it.
No! If someone finds out I have in her arms at all times. When she is not nursing a child, she shall be carrying one. This will leave little time for political movements and involvements.
Oh, that makes me angry. He's saying we need to be distracted so we don't go and develop opinions? Well, what's the writer say? What's the response?
Let's save that for another day. You two step into the hall while I hide you somewhere new.
I suppose I could use a walk.
Me too.
Mother! Mother! Dear mother! I am writing news that will cheer you. In just a few moments, Alice and I expect to greet two very special guests. Can you guess who? Of course, Grace and Michael Reed. Michael Reed is a brilliant medical student from Battle Creek, and his ultimate goal is to return there and study holistic and revolutionary new healthcare methods with Dr. Kellogg at the Battle Creek Sanitarium. We can hope with the progress we made today and the Lord's blessing, we can expect to have Grace engaged by Christmas and ready to leave the university of her own accord at the end of the term. Grace will be married, and you will have no more worries about the farm. I told you I could do it! Your son, Roy.
I want a full run. Damn, this ridiculous thing! It's done so that I don't even know when I'm wearing it. And for what? The flu can make it across the Atlantic Ocean, but not through 4 layers of cotton?
Did you get what you needed at the library?
Most of it. I swear, the boys in my class are so competitive. One of them runs to the library after class and checks out all the materials that might help with the week's assignment. They are more concerned with causing the failure of others than they are with ensuring their own success. I got creative though. Found some minor publications with articles that'll serve me.
Grace? Do you plan to go to Detroit soon?
In a week or so, when they open the public buildings back up again. The Daily's been reporting on it, so it's easy to keep an eye out. Are you okay?
It's good. You should go where you want and have the conversations you want to have.
What happened?
Nothing.
Michael Reed, the luncheon. At the very least, it's over. Isn't it over?
I assume so. I left before it ended.
That's wonderful! Why?
I feel horrible for Alice. She tried so hard to make everything perfect.
I feel horrible for you. What happened? Was he awful? Boorish? Rude?
He was perfectly polite on the outset, almost to the point of being dull. And Roy and Alice kept encouraging him to talk about himself. And it got to the point where I felt like he was selling himself to me. I heard about his grades and his ancestry. Oh, he's of hardy Scottish stock, Ida.
Is he?
I heard about the land his family owns and his sister, who, as it happens, is married to a minister.
Bless those girls who suffer so the rest of us don't have to.
And I got bored and started drifting. And all I could see in my head was me, myself, waking up every day and deciding what I wanted to do and doing it. Not being a doctor's wife, not being a minister's wife, not being a wife. Just waking up every day, deciding what I wanted to do and doing it.
My darling, revolutionary!
And boy caught me drifting and said, oh, wait till you hear about this place Michael Reed wants to go when he graduates.
Some hospital, middle of nowhere?
No, it's this place called Battle Creek Sanitarium. They seem to subscribe to achieving an overhaul bill of health, which requires, in large part, rectal applications. A phrase which he used not once, but twice during lunch.
I bet Roy set him straight.
That's where you're wrong. Roy just smiled and nodded he was sure that everybody was out of earshot. He put his hand on my thigh and said, "I understand your prospects are quite limited."
The beast.
Then he put his hand on my throat and said, "I believe I'm the best you are ever going to get."
He knew.
Yes,
How?
I don't know. Do ministers and ministers' wives gossip about each other?
My darling, I am so sorry.
Don't apologize. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had the courage to do what I did next.
Which was...
I threw his hand off my throat, looked him in the eyes, and said, "Go to hell."
That isn't what you said. Alice, tell her what she said. Alice,
Grace, you said.
I said, "See this look in my eye? This look in my eye is telling you, go to hell."
we couldn't fix that, Grace. After you left, we couldn't fix that. He will not see you again.
You didn't let me tell you what happened when you and Alice were in the kitchen. He touched me, put his hands on
That
me.
means he likes you, Grace.
It wasn't like
And
that.
how would you know? You had yet to have a single real suitor in your entire life.
I have time.
But now your chances are about as good as they were in Edmore. You think he won't tell people that you cussed him out over lunch?
I'll be glad if he does.
Roy, I'm wondering if when you see him in class on Monday, you'll see if things can't be smoothed over.
No, he said he's not going to see her again, and I am not going to beg.
Perhaps you can leave it to Grace for this semester, maybe. And when we return in the spring, you can start in again with the setups.
Thank you for your thoroughly ignorant opinion, Ida, but Grace needs to understand what's at stake.
Roy, be careful.
After the debacle with Deacon Moore, Mother and Father were distraught. They concocted this plan to get you out of town and get you married. They borrowed money, Grace. From Uncle James, from Aunt Clara. Father took the money he was going to use to fix the hole and used it instead to try and fix you.
Roy, don't be cruel.
This is just the truth, Alice. That's why you're here, Grace. No more dilly-dallying.
I'm studying to be a veterinarian, a traveling veterinarian. I'll make them proud.
Pride doesn't run a farm, Grace.
They're counting on my future husband to help run the farm.
Counting on his support, just like they're counting on mine.
Roy, let's go.
So we need to find him, Grace. You need to find him. That's why you're here. Not so you can entertain some ridiculous daydream.
Where are they?
They're gone? To the elevator by now, I'm sure. Are you okay?
Not them. Your books, your papers.
Now might not be the best time.
I need you to teach me how to do this. Now is exactly the time. I know what I'm here for, and it's not what he says it is. Your next trip to Detroit, does it have anything to do with this?